WWE really be moving on from Roman Reigns? We shall see. What's up, Fred Richani, TSC Wrestling. If you're new here, please consider subscribing. Just wanted to hop on here and give my quick thoughts on a rumor that's been going around. And I should disclose that this is a rumor that came from Jonathan Coachman's podcast. Now, Jonathan Coachman, former WWE commentator, announcer, been on ESPN. Obviously, he knows people, but his track record's a little wishy-washy lately. Also, not really a fan of his recent thoughts on Bayley, essentially downplaying her influence, despite the fact she's one of the most influential wrestlers of her generation. That being said, the Last Word podcast featuring Jonathan Coachman and Tommy Carlucci touched upon the recent releases. This is from tjrwrestling.net, as transcribed by them. Shout out to them. We'll include that in the show notes. This is what Coach said. We know that Roman Reigns just came out and said, quote, I'm gonna sign another 2-year deal and then I'm done, end quote. And he reportedly makes between $15 and $20 million a year. Does that math make sense to pay a guy who might appear 10 to 20 times a year? And he's making, at that number, he's making over $1 million an appearance. Is it all worth all that when all these other superstars are getting dropped? And then Carlucci, who was also a former WWE employee, replied, yeah, he's not around a lot now. I think TKO executives are going to really rethink how they're going to handle Roman Reigns. They won't cut him completely, but I can guarantee you he's not getting nowhere near 15 to 20 million. And they say, if you don't like it, lump it. That's the point. They're executives. They didn't grow up in the business like VKM made this business and Triple H made this. But you think Triple H is going to lay his life on the line for Roman's contract? I don't think so. I think he's running scared guys. And then, of course, we had some more commentary here from James of webisjericho.com. Shout out to him at WebGuyJames on X. The general opinion was that TKO probably doesn't believe he's worth the reported $15 million he's due being part-time, and thus his next contract will be for less money. Of course, nobody knows he's just as likely to get a pay raise. Yeah. Well, here's the thing. For any Tribal Chiefs fans, I wouldn't panic too much just now, but I will say this. TKO has been known to be pretty cheap. The parent company Endeavor did allow Francis Ngannou, the real UFC heavyweight champion who held the belt at the time he walked. They let him walk. They let him walk for a fraction of the price that they're probably paying Roman Reigns. They let him walk. Now, granted, I don't blame him for walking because he got like $20 million to fight Tyson Fury and another however much money to get knocked out by Anthony Joshua. So, hey, great deal for him. But the fact that they allowed him to walk, the fact that they did not make these big money fights that people were clamoring for over the years, like Francis Ngannou versus John Jones. Yeah, you could say Francis Ngannou and John Jones didn't happen because maybe Jones was ducking or trying to play politics or whatever. But at the end of the day, and look, I feel a lot of ways about John Jones personally. Like, UFC should have offered these guys a stack, 10 stacks, 100, however many stacks, however that multiplies into millions of dollars in order to get that fight done. They never did. I know it was at the beginning of when TKO or Endeavor took over UFC and Anderson Silva was already kind of at the tail end of his career, but how did they not do Anderson Silva versus GSP one last time, right? Like, there's a lot of money they've left on the table. And if they do that with their MMA business, where they're really not paying guys a whole lot of money, imagine what they're going to do with WWE as they further and further get their claws in there. And look, Roman Reigns has publicly talked about, hey, you know what? Maybe I'll go to Hollywood and, I own a less physical form of entertainment. Makes sense. He's busted his ass over the years. But yeah, it'll be interesting. I'll say this. If they do let Roman Reigns walk / lowball him, that's going to send a message to the rest of the roster. Or it should anyway, that, hey, you ain't safe. And there is a very clear ceiling right now. Now, this could be resolved by wrestlers actually negotiating, knowing their worth, playing both sides of AEW and WWE. Maybe a legit third option emerging from the ashes. Or, dare I say, unionizing or at least reaching out to some SAG-AFTRA representatives to maybe unionize down the road. Who knows? I'll believe it when I see it when it comes to that. But for now, I think Roman Reigns is safe. But would I be surprised if they let him walk? If they let AJ Styles walk? All these guys? No, I wouldn't. That being said, they are going to need to continue to make some stars. The Netflix ratings have been going down, although they've been pretty steady with SmackDown and NXT. We shall see what happens there. But also, too, look, UFC's been allowing guys to just do whatever, walk, not take fights, putting on fights for the sake of fights, running at the boring-ass Apex, and a contract year with ESPN for the rights to their TV and their pay-per-views. So if they're that audacious, even though on the surface it doesn't seem like a smart idea, hey, I could see them saying, Roman, let's walk. But I want to hear from you. Do you think they'd actually say no to Roman Reigns? Do you think that, hey, at some point, maybe a guy like John Cena isn't even associated with them anymore? Let me know. Leave a comment below. If you enjoyed this update, like, share, take care. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications for more updates like this. And until next time, as always, enjoy the matches.